Hey guys, it is a beautiful day on the Oregon coast. As you can probably hear, the park is alive. There is a ice cream truck out there doing the ice cream truck thing. But today, last night as well, I had to make my own dinner, and I'm making it again tonight. This is something else than what I did last night. Last night I just did a simple steak and some fried cabbage. Super simple. But tonight I wanted to treat myself. So I'm going a little bit step further, and I wanted to share that with you guys in this vlog. If some of you don't know, I've always loved to cook. It's always been something that my parents, encouraged us to do. They actually, or my mom did, bought my brother and I a 4-ingredient cookbook for kids years back. And my favorite thing to make out of there was a tater tot casserole. Potatoes, cheese, I think it had sour cream and something else. Just super simple, but it was really good. And then, of course, add whatever you want, garlic and other stuff. But I've always loved to cook. That's something that I really enjoy doing. So I find myself cooking here a lot, not because my wife can't cook. She can also cook. I just enjoy doing it. So it's like, yeah, sure, fine. I'll cook, whatever. So I wanted to share with you guys the meal that I'm about to make. This is going to be an experiment because I've never made this before. And, the marinade that I put the steak in and everything, I just kind of winged it. I just kind of free-handed everything, but I can give you a general idea. So what we got here is tri-tip steak. I made the marinade in this bowl over here, this small bowl. For the marinade, I put in just a tiny bit of this sesame oil, so probably about 1/8 of a teaspoon. A little bit of soy sauce, kikkoman, always kikkoman. Then we have this Sweet Baby Ray's sweet teriyaki. I personally prefer Yoshida's myself. However, the wife and I are doing Weight Watchers, and this is less points than the Yoshida's per tablespoon. So I don't think I even put a full tablespoon in there. But and then I put a little bit of garlic, some onion powder, and what else did I put? Oh, and I put in a little bit of salt, of course, always salt, just a little bit. I put in some clover honey and mixed that all together in this bowl here. And the amount that I put of honey in there was just about like half of this teaspoon. So if you just grab one of your small spoons, just put half of it on there, put it in there, just whisk that around. Then I put it in this bag with the tri-tip, set it on the counter. That way it doesn't stay cold. That's a tip that I have known for years. I forgot about it. And then I watched a video Gordon Ramsay did that said that before you make your steak, always leave it out on the counter for about 15 to 20 minutes so that when you put it on the grill, it's not cold in the middle. That way you're not ending up with a raw steak. But I'm going to do something different with this. I'm actually going to cut it up, but I did leave it out too so that it wasn't a solid rock and the marinade could soak into the meat itself. And I put it 15 minutes on one side, 15 minutes on the other side, so it soaked for about a half hour. So let's get on it. Let's start cutting this up. All right, so we're going to cut this steak into pieces. Oh, yeah. Oh, and I did forget, too. I also put just a tiny bit of apple cider vinegar in the marinade as well to allow it to break down the tendons and other things in this to tenderize the meat. Some of you might be asking, what am I going to do with the rest of this broth? This marinade? I'm going to save it because when I cook the cabbage, I pre-cut the cabbage, as you can see, cabbage and a orange bell pepper. When I cook the cabbage, after it cooks down a little bit, I'm going to put that in with the cabbage and let all that cook together. So it's, agreeing flavors happening here. So I did use this knife on the cabbage and the peppers. It's not dirty from just not washing it, but trust me, it's clean. I just used it for this. So how I'm going to cut this is we are going to do a kind of angled cut, just a little bit, so that we get nice thin pieces. Let's see how thin I can make it with this knife. Oh, this knife sucks. Oh my gosh, this knife is terrible. Okay, this knife is made to cut veggies and not much else. We're gonna get a new knife. Haha, new knife. All right, so we're gonna try this again. But this is about the size I'm gonna make them, and we're gonna go kind of sideways cut. We're not gonna cut directly this way or this way. We're gonna just kind of make it a side cut. Oh yeah, that cuts so much better. Okay. Just like butter. All right. So we're going to cut this into strips about that thick. Not going to trim this off any extra because we're going to cook it first in the wok and then take it back out. So we want all the juices to come off and like get into that pan where we're going to put the cabbage in. So, and I believe I did mention this, but this is a tri-tip cut of steak. You usually find them in a roast, but at Costco they sell them in almost pre-cut steaks. They're not quite personal steak sizes. We buy them in bulk and cut them down in half and then freeze them in twos. Definitely saves us money on meats when we buy meats. So now that steak is cut, we're going to move over to the pan. We're going to get that all prepped up. Alright, so in the interest of doing this video, I didn't start this pan already. Otherwise, I would have if I wasn't doing this setup here. But I just wanted to keep it cool. That way I can show you what I'm putting in before I put it in there. So what I'm going to do for the steak is I'm just going to put a small little dollop of olive oil. This is a extra light tasting olive oil. It was, once again, lower point value for Weight Watchers. So that's why we got it. I prefer a much more robust olive oil, but this one works just fine for cooking. So we're going to put just a small little blop of that, probably about a tablespoon. Make sure I'm on the correct burner because my phone is also on the back burner, so we're gonna make sure it's the right one. I see my apron. I'm gonna put that on. So my wife's nickname for me is Mr. Mine for her is Sweetness, so she made me this apron. It's very stylish, if I do say so myself. So get this oil all heated up, and then we're going to put the steak right in there. So it's all marinated, it's all got all the flavor. However, when I put it in here, I'm going to sprinkle some extra garlic on there because you can never have too much garlic. Okay, so the wok is warm. And, you know, people say, oh, wait for it to get runny, wait for it to do a certain thing, this, and this. I can never really tell, honestly, so sometimes I'll just take a little piece of what I'm about to cook and just bloop. It starts to bubble just a little bit. Yep, there it goes. All right, so it's perfect. It's ready to go. Not too hot, not too cold. So we're going to throw this steak right in there. Okay, so we'll grab up a spatula here and really mix this around, make sure that the pieces are kind of separated. That way we don't have any raw sections when we're all done. So after I cook this steak, I'm actually going to take it out and put it back into the bowl that I had made the marinade in. There's still a little bit of a layer of marinade in the bowl itself. So when I put it in there, it's going to put that extra little bit of marinade right there on the outside. And some of you might ask, James, did you take the blood out of the bag from the beef before you put the marinade in? The answer is no, because that's flavor. Why would you want to take flavor out? Keep the blood in the bag. Put it in there with the marinade. Make that part of your marinade. Now, granted, you can't, like, lick up the marinade because there's the raw blood in there, but definitely helps with flavor for sure. Especially when you're going to be cooking with veggies. And I'm not even going to say how much garlic to put in. Just be generous. You know, don't be afraid of garlic. Garlic's your friend. Good for your heart. Good for your soul. Nothing else. Okay. Recipes that, you know, sacrifice garlic really make me sad, honestly. That was another thing growing up. It was very instilled in me that garlic was a mainstay. Garlic has to be present in food, or else you don't have the right kind of flavor. You might have some flavor, but if you don't have garlic, you're missing out. So let that cook up. Can you guys hear it sizzling? Oh yeah, sounds beautiful, don't it? No! 5-second rule. Okay, so this is cooking up very nicely. So much juice in this right now. This is going to really help the cabbage cook up. And the bell peppers. The bell peppers of which we are going to put in first, since they have to cook a little bit longer to not be raw. Oh my gosh, look at all that juice. Look at all that. Beautiful stuff. And that steak is cooking up so perfectly. This wok actually was my wife's grandparents' wok. So this wok's been around for a while. My wife is not Asian. They just had a wok. I never grew up with a wok myself, but since being married, it's definitely changed our my Asian cuisine cooking. So we are actually going to leave these juices in the pan. We're going to put the steak in this bowl over here. Now, yes, this is steak for one. I personally can eat a ton of cabbage, and that's half a head of cabbage in the bowl and 1 bell pepper. You can, keep half a head of cabbage and double your steak or double your peppers. Doesn't really matter to me. Whichever way you wanna do that, that's fine. Okay, so now we have the steak in a separate bowl. We're gonna let that sit while we cook up the bell pepper. So, gonna let this beef juice and a little bit of oil sizzle up just a bit. Not too long though, because that's not really our goal here. We want to keep that alive so that when we put these in, it's actually the peppers are actually going to have something to cook in. Guys, probably one of the best things my parents did for me growing up was instilling a love for cooking. It's honestly kept me fed. In times when I've been at home alone, like now, if I had to rely on my wife, I would be completely out of luck. It's definitely something worthwhile. If you guys have kids, help them love cooking too, because it's going to help them. It's going to help their spouse. I know that when my wife is coming home super late, sometimes she's a teacher at a one-teacher school. She's the principal and the teacher. She sometimes has, nights where she's not getting home till 8:30. I think, on average, she gets home 7:30 or 8 most nights. And, nobody likes to eat that late. Nobody likes to make anything that late. So it's been a real, help to her that I know how to cook. I'm going to let that finish melting off, and I'm going to show you guys, about the size that I cut this cabbage up into. So, all the pieces are about this size. I'm going to put that right in there. And cabbage, if you guys didn't know, is kind of like your paycheck. The the gross amount is a lot more than your net pay. You'll end up with a lot less. So this may look like a lot right now, but it's definitely going to cook down. So we are going to, once again, grab the garlic and just all over that cabbage. I'm going to grab this salt. I would not recommend using this big one like this, but right now I have not taken the time to put more salt into the into the shaker. So we're not going to worry about that right now. And then pepper. Want to make sure you have all of those things. Once again, have not taken the time to put pepper in the shaker. But we want to just pepper that up. Then we're going to mix that all around. Right down in there with the butter. Don't worry about it sizzling down there. Should be fine. Whew, that was a lot of pepper. Eesh. About to make me sneeze. Fold it over. Pick it up in the middle so that everything touches the butter, gets coated in there. I personally would love to use more butter. However, once again, Weight Watchers trying to be a little more cautious about, what I use. But, veggies are free. This tri-tip steak is a point per ounce, so those are numbers I like. Okay, and as you can see, there are a couple of pieces in here that are a little bit bigger than, what they should be. Those will cook down. Those will loosen up. But if you're a real stickler about it, you can, recut as you see fit. Alright, so it looks like this is pretty well coated in butter. We don't have a lid that fits this wok perfectly. However, we do have a lid that's bigger than the wok. So we're going to leave that on there, let that simmer, and we're going to stir it around a little bit at a time. While we wait on that to steam up and cook down more, I'm going to show you guys this steak. The reason I cut it so thin is it doesn't take near as long to get to a nice, beautiful pink in there, but still done. So it's not underdone, not overdone. It's perfect. Give this another stir. We don't want to leave this cabbage sitting for too long because it will burn to the bottom. So we just want to keep that steam in there to allow it to loosen up some, and those bigger, thicker middle pieces to loosen up as well. We don't want to have those. Don't want to have those staying hard because that's just kind of gross, frankly. I personally am going to add just a touch more garlic because, bam, that's why. Because, bam. BAM! You're welcome. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I love garlic. So that's still kind of crunchy. But like I said before, we're going to put the marinade into this cabbage and let that cook in there. So we want it to be at this level when we put this in. So we're going to take this rest of this marinade, and it's got the beef blood in there too, so you're getting that flavor in there as well. It's kind of a beef stock, sort of. And mix that in there. It's gonna be so good. Oh my gosh, my wife should be jealous because she's not here, and she won't be here in time to eat this with me. This is all for me. Lots of cabbage. James is gonna eat well tonight. And we're going to put that lid right back on there. Lock in that flavor. Lock in that steam. I am actually going to let that simmer just for a second with that lid on. And then I'm going to add those bell peppers in. Alright, we're almost ready to put the bell peppers in with the cabbage. Just want to show you guys this real quick. This Nalgene, this sticker here. I'm sure you guys can tell the silhouette. Okay, you've had time to guess. This is Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z. I am a huge Dragon Ball Z guy. I love that show. He is my favorite character. My best friend from preschool, Mackenzie, she bought me this. I don't remember where she was. I think she was at Universal Studios or something, but she bought me this sticker and slapped that right out there on my Nalgene. It's beautiful. I love it. Just wanted to share that with you guys. Okay. Mix this cabbage real quick. Okay, that cabbage is loosening up real nicely. All right, and from here, we're going to put these bell peppers right back in. And this will add bell pepper flavor as well to this cabbage. And these bell peppers are pretty well done already, so it's not going to be very long that these sit in here. The cabbage has had time to steam. This marinade has had time to kind of soak into everything. So we're going to just let that sit only for a minute. But we're going to leave the lid off because we want some of that liquid to cook off of there. The current Weight Watchers program, Freestyle, is very protein positive. So the more protein something has over the carbs and fat content, the less points it is. So it's actually really great because I am a steak lover. That's one more thing that my parents, mostly my dad, built into me growing up was a love for steak. But yes, my dad is a very steak and potatoes. You could feed him that a whole week and he'd be perfectly happy. And my brother and I definitely acquired that behavior from him. My mom, she could take or leave steak. She's not huge on it. If it's really good, it's really good, though. She really appreciates a good steak. However, it's not a requirement in her life. So I do want some of these juices because I don't want, a dry dish. But we have lots of juice in the bowl with the steak as well. So this is going to be a real nice and juicy dish. It would be great with some rice. I personally am not going to do rice because rice makes me uncomfortable. Frankly, it scares me because it's way too easy to get wrong. I successfully did it the other night only because my wife was cheering me on through Messenger. But other than that, I'm not gonna bother. But it would be a great thing with some rice because of all this juice here that was soaked straight in there. And I definitely should have started the rice sooner if I was going to do that. But I did not have that idea then. But I have that idea now. So I will keep that in mind for the future. And I'm sure that my wife will want me to make this for her. I also, the other night when I made rice, I was making a broccoli beef stir fry from Weight Watchers. So she was like, "You can do it. You got this." She wasn't home yet. Okay, so now we're going to throw this beef back into this situation here. Okay, guys, this dish is ready to rock and roll. Super excited to see how this tastes. I'll plate it up and we'll do a taste test. We'll see. Oh my gosh, y'all. This looks amazing. Okay, we're going to dive in. And I'm so glad to, because there's more in the pan. This is only like a quarter of it. This is great. Ooh, and I can even cut that piece of steak with the fork. Oh, that's so good. Really what helps is that apple cider vinegar to really break down the meat. Okay. See what we got here. Let's try that again, shall we? Okay. Let's try that. Bro. This is so good. I honestly was a little worried to start with. The different flavors I was mixing into the marinade. But oh, it's so good. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for next week's vlog. If you want to see more of my content, just hit that subscribe button. I'm going to put it right there. Right on the top of that squirt bottle. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and follow me. I just posted a cover video yesterday, so go check that out. I had a lot of fun doing it. So if you like it, please share it. I'm really proud of how it turned out. So, guys, have a great rest of your week. Go follow me on Twitch. I've been streaming pretty regularly, and I got my first win on Apex. I'm super excited. Getting better and better every day. So, guys, thank you so much, and we'll see you on the next vlog.